my God!
She is. All right, today's gonna be a good day. Not because Goldie Hawn's trans here quit while I was dropping my kid off at daycare. No, we got Jack Black parts.
Got a converter. So your rehab's going well. Oh shit.
All right, so the converter that's in the truck right now is a Summit 3000 stall. So the replacement went to the enemy, went to Jegs. And this one is a 35 to 38 stall. Right there's the part number, 60404. There were some better options out there, but they were a lot more expensive. This converter was, I think, like 260 bucks. And it had a lot of good reviews, people making pretty good power through them, so not really worried about that. Uh-oh. What'd you do? Well, was it fun while it lasted?
Yeah. Except to start spitting and sputtering, I know I got enough gas. Things a bitch getting in and out of.
Alright, we're about to pull the truck over to the hoist and get to work on swapping the converters. But first, a shifter from the last video. Got the holes drilled for that. If you guys have never drilled through carpet before, here's something that will definitely help you so you don't clog up your drill bits. Take a little torch like this, heat up the drill bit, and that way it'll singe the carpet and it won't get caught around it like this did once it started to cool down. That definitely helps, and it saves a lot of time. All right, let's get this thing turned around and start yanking the Caitlyn Jenner out. Man, this truck is feisty. You gotta admit, at least the one thing about the EFI is it would at least idle. Until this thing is like completely up to temperature, it does not want to idle. And I do have a 750 Holiday on the way. Hopefully it'll be here sometime this week, maybe Wednesday, Thursday. As long as it's before Friday, I guess. Even if it is Friday, I guess I don't really care. As long as it's hopefully this week, one should be showing up. And then that'll hopefully take care of that, and then there's just little bugs here and there to work out. Man, we either need more back spacing or smaller tires. She's got some thigh rub going on. Alright, for anybody who is curious what it looked like under here, and maybe haven't seen some of the previous videos, let's take a quick tour. Obviously relocated the shocks to the back. They're just basic off the shelf, like $50 competition engineering shocks, 3-way adjustable. I need to soften them up a little bit. It does still have the factory tank in it, which we will be replacing soon. I got a fuel cell up in it that you've already seen. We're debating on moving it back here or up where it is now. Basically, it's going to be kind of wherever we think the weight will work better or whatever is easier at the end of the day. And then stock leaf springs, it is just an axle flip, and it has drop shackles and drop hangers. As far as here, it's a Turbo 400 that was actually in the truck when we bought it, and a leaky thinking rear main. Got to redo the exhaust someday too. The front suspension is Moroso Trick springs, and then the shocks are actually Summit's 3-way adjustable drag shocks. It's just a 2-wheel drive transmission, so it's not going to take super long to get out, and we've had it out before. So let me see. Drive shaft, tranny jack under it. Take this mount off. We can lower it down a little bit to get to all the bell housing bolts, and then obviously like the lines here and stuff like that. Anyway, there's not a whole lot involved with that, so we'll get that out in probably, what do you think, 3 minutes, 4 minutes?
What?
Transmission out.
3 or 4 minutes? I was going for 5 myself, but you think we can do it that quick?
All right, let's get to work. Alright, you gonna open the new one?
Start pulling the fluid. God, they make them little.
Yeah. Don't let a box beat you. Not on camera.
Fucker. Can't fucking grab it with a damn one, man.
Oh man.
God, they make them fucking small.
Oh, cool. Does that paper say anything worth a shit? Don't use in black trucks. High performance torque converter. Alright, while you're doing that, I'm gonna pull this flex plate off and take a gander at the old sealer. Because even here you can see how saturated that pan and everything is. And it was clean. All right, yet another day that we are defeated early without much of a success. We got the trains and everything back in it. Everything's looking good there. Torque converter's hooked up. We trimmed the exhausts because it was hanging way down here and it would catch on the trailer and shit. So we just cut it, so to hell with it. And then I got the shifter cable hooked up down here. I just have to drill a hole in the floor and run it up to the shifter. The shifter's bolted down. And the mount works fine, however this floor flexes a little too much, so I might have to make a sandwich plate that extends way out here a bit just to give it a little more leverage. Because it still works, it's just like right in here it wants to flex a bit. So not a huge deal, just something else to do. And then the thing that's really screwing us that we've been kind of dicking with for easily the last hour. One of the drive shaft bolts broke off in the rear yoke, which I don't even know where he put that. Yeah, you can see these ones are all clear, and then this is the one where it's broke off in there. He's been trying to drill it out for a while, just destroying drill bits. I think he said he took like an inch off one of them, which is crazy. I started to fall asleep in the truck because I was tired of waiting. And we called a couple parts stores, and a cheap Chinese one was still like 120 bucks. We will probably just try and find a used one. All right, it's the next day, and I just got back to the garage. It looks like you've been up to some things. So I'm really bad at remembering to put links in the description, so if you want this, just search TCI Fastgate Shifter. This is the one that I used in the Cutlass, so I know that I'm familiar with it. I think it's pretty decent quality for the price. It was like 150 bucks, which isn't bad for a brand new ratcheting shifter. But there is like one design flaw that is kind of a bummer, but it might help us out here. If I can get this freaking thing out of here.
Oh yeah, having fun with the box. Remember that? Yeah, laugh at me when I was taking the converter out.
Well, you had both hands too.
Yeah, but it was a lot heavier too.
Alright. And it does come with a new cable, which some don't. So here's my only complaint with this shifter. And like I said, it's 150 bucks, so for the price, I think it's a great shifter. But you bring it back there, and then let me see if I can remember how to use this. So if you just go like that, it's fine. But if you're in first and you go nice and slow, it falls through all of them. That's the only thing I don't like about this, because let's see. You can see here how it works. They just have it notched. So if you go nice and slow, it'll fall through the gears there. But if you punch it into gear, it's fine. But I think this might fix our problem, just because like it moves so much easier instead of that one trying to fight over those.
Well, that
ridges.
one probably needs to be greased.
That is true. But and then I wish that they put like some sort of spring here so that thing doesn't. So the shifter's hooked up, drive shaft is in. I think all we need to do is check the trans fluid, and then we may actually be able to take this thing for a quick little cruise. It was working, and it would stall up to like 25. This converter, I don't know if I mentioned it, but it's supposed to be like a 35 to 38 stall, so.
What did it get up to?
Just foot braking it about 25. So 1,000 more than last time. All right, so it's my firm belief that anytime you fabricate, you have to keep an open mind. You can't pigeonhole yourself into thinking that whatever it is you're building is perfect the first time, because there's a chance it may not be. And you gotta be willing to accept criticism from yourself or your peers or whoever's around, and accept that maybe there's a better way to do things. And in my case, it's with this damn shifter mount. I definitely made a mistake. I overlooked a couple things, didn't think about them, and I'm improving it. All right, so I cut about 2.5 inches off of it to drop it down and angled the cut so that it's leaning back about 8 degrees or so. And that'll help us clear the shifter cable so it's not into the gauges and not all kinked weird, so it should shift a little bit easier. And we, well, mostly he, actually, wherever they went, made some sandwich plates out of angle iron.
Oh, they're right there in the chair.
Oh. So this is just going to bolt under the body to help with any of the flex in the floor. So hopefully it should be a little bit more rigid and shift a whole lot easier. All right, shifter is in and complete and much more rigid.
So you had to shake it.
Yeah, I had to shake it to show him how much I was lying. I ended up putting a different handle on it because somebody doesn't like holding balls, I guess. Let's pull the truck out and test it, and test the new converter. Man, I love that truck. It actually seemed to be staying in gear too, which is a pleasant surprise. I thought it'd still try to shift on its own like it had been doing. But the thing seems great. That converter made a big difference already. Man, that truck looks so good. Alright. Now we can give Goldie some attention. Maybe not. Hey there, baby. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Oh boy. so that was a lot of fun. It's always nice to be able to end a video with actually seeing some progress and a little bit of tire smoke. So yeah, the converter, I only foot braked it up to about 2,500, and which is 1,000 more than we were able to. But it would flash up to, it looked like it was flashing up to about 3,800. And then the shifter, all that seems to be working just fine. Like I said earlier, as long as you like kind of hit it into gear, it's fine. But if you just kind of push it, it'll like fall through the slots and it'll take you all the way to neutral. But if you hit it and if you're firm with it, it's good. Like I said, I'm really bad at remembering to put links in the description. So if you're interested in that, I think it's a really good shifter for the price. Brand new, shipped to your door. It was like 150 bucks. So just look up TCI Fastgate shifter. The converter, so far I'm really happy with it. It's just a Jegs converter. It's part number 60404, and that was like 250 bucks. So I think that just those two things should get us pretty close to like 3/10. I don't think that's being too greedy. The converter at least should, I don't know, I'd like to see this thing 60 foot, like 1.8, 1.9. I don't think that's out of the question. I think I had the tire pressure a little too low. Mickey Thompson for these radials recommends like 16 and up, I think is what it said. Don't quote me on that. I think it said 16 and up for these radials. And we had it at like, I think 12. So we're going to probably next time start it at 20 and work it down because it's easier to deflate than inflate. So we'll play with that. I'd like to loosen the shocks up in the back. I forgot to do that while it was up in the air, but obviously we got a big ass hole in the bed, so it's not hard to get to them. Anyway, tomorrow I'm going to come back over and start tearing apart Goldie Hawn because I think the transmission quit. Well, not think, I know the transmission quit because it left me stranded at the daycare I was dropping my kid off at. I'm not sure if I want to try to tackle that myself because I just don't know what to look for and I don't know what's wrong. But like I always say, you learn by doing, so. Or if I want to just have the guy who's rebuilt the last 2 transmissions for me, if I want to have him just rebuild it, because he's cheap and he's pretty quick too. Like he would probably rebuild this for $500-600 bucks, really. So my plan for it is I'm not gonna get crazy. I'm not gonna do some like high performance build. I'm gonna do what works and what has been proven to work. So I'm going to do a stock rebuild, like all new, pretty much anything that needs to be replaced, but OEM shit for it, and then just the Transgo HD2 kit. That stuff, people have made 800 to the tire with that setup, and I don't see any reason to not just do what's already proven. So that's probably gonna do it for today's video. I don't know how long it's gonna be, we'll see. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. See you guys next time.